The chemistry videos here are based upon Brown, LeMay, Burston, Murphy, and Woodward's Chemistry, the Central Science. This particular video relates to Section 1.2, Classifying Matter. Now in this section they cover more than just what I'm going to talk about. For example, they cover gases, liquids, and solids, but most people don't have too much of a problem understanding the difference between a gas and a solid and a liquid. But what is sometimes confusing is this idea of categorizing stuff. If somebody gives you some stuff and you have to categorize it as, for example, a homogeneous or a heterogeneous mixture, that can be somewhat confusing. It's actually very easy. It's not hard to understand at all once it clicks. Once it clicks and you understand what they're talking about, it's pretty easy. But when you're first exposed to it, it can be a little confusing. Basically, the prefix homo means same. The prefix hetero means different. And so if something is homogeneous, it is of the same kind. If something is heterogeneous, it is of different kinds. And so let's say someone gives you a glob of something, say a glob of mud. Is it uniform throughout? Probably not. A glob of mud is probably not going to be uniform throughout. It's probably going to have some pebbles, maybe some sticks or some other stuff in it. And so because a glob of mud is made up of different things, it's not uniform throughout, it's heterogeneous. We would say it's a heterogeneous mixture. But let's say someone gives you some tap water without any ice in it, and let's say you can't see any particles in it, it just looks clear. Then that would be homogeneous because it would be the same throughout. So you're given some stuff. Is it the same throughout? Then it's homogeneous. Is it not uniform throughout? Then it's a heterogeneous mixture. So let's say it's homogeneous. That gives us to our second question. And by the way, page 9 of the Central Science, Chemistry, the Central Science, has a lovely chart to diagram this. But let's say you've got something, you know it's homogeneous. Well, is that homogeneous stuff just of one kind of thing? Or is it made up of more than one kind of thing? So for example, if someone gives you some tap water that's homogeneous, usually tap water has some other things in it as well. It may have some chlorine or fluorine in it to purify it. There may be some other minerals in it. And so even though it is homogeneous, it may have more than one kind of thing in it, in which case it is a mixture. It's a homogeneous mixture. It's not a heterogeneous mixture because it doesn't have different, it's ununiform, but it's uniform. But it's still a mixture because it's more than one thing in it. So we call that a homogeneous mixture. But let's say that it's distilled water, and everything in that cup is H2O. Then it's a pure substance. It's not a mixture of things. It's a pure substance because everything in that distilled water is water. Okay? So tap water is a homogeneous mixture because it's more than just water mixed together. Even though it's uniform, it's more than just water. Distilled water is just H2O and therefore is a pure substance. One more slide. Let's say it's just one substance, but can that one substance be broken down into even simpler components of matter? So for example, in the case of distilled water, H2O, you have two hydrogens and one oxygen. They are bound together into a molecule, water molecules. They are the same thing. They're all water molecules, but those water molecules can be broken down into hydrogens and oxygens. So if that one substance, that pure substance, can be broken down into even simpler components, then it's a compound like H2O. But if it's already completely broken down, let's say it's neon, like what you find in neon light bulbs, the long cylindrical tubes. Let's say it's all neon, or let's say it's all helium, like in a helium balloon. And so if it's already broken down to the smallest atom it can be broken down to, then it's an element. So that's basically how we classify matter. We break it down into either heterogeneous mixtures or homogeneous substances. We break the homogeneous substances down either homogeneous mixtures or into pure substances, and then pure substances can be subdivided into compounds and elements. And so that's classifying matter.